against vegans as long as you don't like put it in my face, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm fucking around.
I know I was gonna say, because a lot of people do say that to me, and I'm like, what do you mean by
Yeah,
that? Because usually if I just
your-
say that I'm vegan, people get upset.
Don't
so.
push your vegan agenda, Lydia.
But yeah, like I don't know.
Leave the kids alone.
Just don't push it on the children. Okay?
Yeah. Just don't teach it in the schools, guys. But no, like a lot of people think that I want to like make laws about it. I'm like, do you like? I know how that. One, I don't want to. Two, how would that go right now? If we made a law to where you can't eat animal products, that's not gonna happen. Like it's just
I'm
not.
so sad that nobody wants to debate this topic.
I don't know. Maybe you need something spicier.
Clay.
Charlie said Adam and Eve, not Adam and veggies. I can't.
Oh my god.
Yep, this is a spicy topic.
Oh yeah, people get real mad when I even just like I used to be vegetarian when I was little, and like I would just tell people, like I wouldn't tell them unprovoked, like I would have to mention it because I said I couldn't eat something, and they'd act like I just was like forcing them to be vegan. I'm like, I'm just telling you I'm vegetarian. Like that's all I said.
Okay, Lydia, I do have a question.
Yeah.
I don't want it to come off any kind of way.
No, you're good.
Are you a trans woman?
I can't disclose that information.
No, I'm being like for real. I thought you were cis.
No, I am cis.
Okay.
Oh, were you? I thought you were.
Okay.
No, yeah, I am cis. I'm cis.
Okay. I was confused on context.
No, you're good. I wanted to do. Aaron has that background of I'm a man, prove me wrong, even though he's cis, and I wanted to do I'm a woman, prove me wrong, and like see the reactions that I get, because people are definitely gonna assume. People already send me DMs like telling me to like talk in my real voice and shit. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I think it'd be interesting to do that background and see like if I get the same sort of reactions as like other people get who are trans.
I love when people just like validate my identity and say that I'm not a man or that I'm a woman, and I'm like,
thank you, Radio UK.
Unintentional allies.
Yep.
Oh my god, Sarah, do you want to kiss or something? Like, why are you obsessed with me? Lydia, you didn't even have the
Hey, Sarah, your jealousy's coming through.
Sarah, let's
your jealousy is very loud, because I'm gonna be real. That's the only reason I could see plausible for why you're going after Lydia this hard, is because you wish you had the platform to go and speak to a presidential candidate, and that is not on me. That's not on Lydia. That's not on Coda. That's not on Jane, and that's on Nate. That is solely on you, and it is honestly not a good look. Girl to girl, it's not the vibe. So maybe do me a super solid and take a step back. Cool?
In other words, you're not a girl squirrel.
You're not a girl's girl. Exactly. Also, yeah, I didn't have my camera on, but at least I have a profile picture. Okay, so let's calm down.
Oop.
Pedro's cool.
Cool. Hey, hi. Good evening, everybody. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Are you guys talking about anything specific, or just in the image behind you, sir?
Just the image behind us. Also, we're just waiting for people to come up, so we're discussing the debate. But
Cool. Yeah. No, I do believe that trans women are women.
okay, awesome.
You know, and I'm just here more to let just vibe and learn and listen, if that's okay. I feel like I don't really have a lot to contribute.
Yeah.
Pedro, just to let you know, friend, Nate, our host, is not a sir.
Oh, well, thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, you're fine. I am just looking for opposition, but I do appreciate you coming in.
Cool, for sure. Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Can I say something to Pedro real quick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so earlier when you joined my live, I was doing a character. I was doing a bit. I don't know if you caught that, but I'm not actually like that. I'm only like half like that. And so like I wanted to like answer your questions honestly. Just like
Wonderful.
what happened just now, whenever somebody informed you that like Nate is not a man, they do not like identify as a man, and you were like, oh, okay, cool. You know, like it can be as simple as that. And I think that's what you were asking earlier in my life.
Yes, no, totally, totally. You know, because like I mentioned in your live earlier, I got younger kids and they're asking questions, and I don't want to pollute them with the education I received when I was young, and I just want to be like sensitive and don't want to steer them in the wrong direction. Because my son came up to me and he was just saying, oh, they called me like they called me gay at school, and I'm just trying to be there for him. You know what I mean? Like I'm just trying to learn, and there's a lot of stuff I don't know, and my parents aren't going to teach me, and I don't want to learn. A lot of stuff I've learned is from my friends and what they've had to go through, and you know the pain that they had to endure, and some of my friends have unalived themselves because they weren't accepted by their families.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm from a Latino background, so when we say hi to somebody, we give them a kiss, you know, and then I've just been in situations where the person I was with, you know, I thought they were a woman, so I gave them a kiss, and they kind of like pushed me back, and they're, you know, so I'm like, oh, I don't know, I just didn't know, so I'm like, damn, I want my kids to, I want them to know that I did everything I could to raise them right, and
Right.
there's nothing we should be afraid of, right? Like we have to accept people because like that's their human condition, right? They're alive, and I want to learn, you know. And the more I
Right.
learn, the better I could be, and advocate and just be strong. So I appreciate you guys, you know, taking the time, and I'm just here to vibe and learn. You know, I don't really have anything like in
Yeah,
opposition.
yeah, you're good. Yeah, if you just, I'm gonna drop you down, but you can certainly
Cool,
hang
cool,
out
cool,
and
for
listen.
sure.
And, yeah, I appreciate you coming up.
No worries. Have a beautiful day. All right. Many blessings
too.
to all of you.
You as well. See ya.
So I don't know about y'all, but like the whole Miriam Williamson, every like response that she had was basically a non-answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was Parker asked like, how are we going to deal with inflation? And then she goes, well, I think it's because we aren't actually addressing the real issue of inflation. It's like, okay, but like, how are we going to deal with inflation?
Yeah. Hello?
What's up? How you guys doing?
I can hardly hear you.
So how you guys doing?
All right. How old are you?
28.
All right. What's up? What's your take?
My take. A trans woman is not a woman.
Why?
Why?
They're trans women, but they're not a woman.
Okay. So
So-
what's the word trans? How is it used in that term, trans woman?
They're a trans woman.
Yeah, but how is the word trans being used?
So you want me to call a trans person a woman when they're not a woman?
No. So when you say trans woman, what is the term trans being used as? In that statement, in that
Trans.
yeah, how is it being used?
Transgender.
Is it a noun? Is it a verb?
What do you mean is it a noun? What are you getting to?
How is it being used when you say trans woman?
Why does it matter?
I'll get to it in a second. Do you know how it's being used? Is it a noun?
Bro, I don't know.
Okay,
What are you talking-
it's being used as an adjective. Do you know what an adjective is?
No, I didn't go to school, so.
Salem, yes,
I
you
would
did.
not know.
I
No, I
literally
did not.
talked to you earlier today.
No, yeah, you talked to me earlier, but it doesn't mean that I went to school.
I think we've talked 4 times now at this point.
Who?
You and me.
Jane?
No, Artemis,
Bruh.
above you.
Are you good, my guy?
Artemis.
Yes, we talked earlier today in Demi's live.
I don't remember. But anyways,
That was like 5 hours ago.
was it 5 hours? I don't remember.
It was earlier today.
Bruh, are you a little baked right now? What's going on?
No, I'm not baked. I just haven't slept, brother.
Wait,
Busy man.
I'm not your
Okay.
brother.
All right, sister.
so trans is an
I'm not
adjective,
related to you
right?
at all.
So when I sit here and say like a blue car, is a blue car still a car?
It's a. Why are you adding the color? Yeah, it's still a car.
Right.
Yes. So because it's an adjective, right? I'm adding the blue because it's an adjective. So in the same way that blue is an adjective, transgender is a adjective. So
I want to know why can't they just accept that they're transgender? Like, there's just, hey, I'm transgender. You know, I'm a transgender.
I do accept that I am
Instead of saying-
transgender, but
Instead
I'm
of
also
saying,
a
oh, I'm a
woman.
woman, I'm a transgender woman.
But I'm also a woman.
No,
I am transgender, but I'm also a woman.
yeah, but a transgender woman. You were
So-
Okay.
So, Salem,
yeah.
what is-
Nobody.
at one
All right,
point you
my-
were
my guy,
you were a
hold on.
man.
Hold on.
At one
No.
point you were a man, right?
No.
Oh my god.
Absolutely not. Transgender women are not men and were never men. And so, like, just to break this down a little bit for you, right? Like, trans women aren't saying they're not trans women. What they're saying is they're also women. Just as much as a cisgender
Oh
woman
my
is
god.
also a woman.
No.
Are you
you're
okay?
not.
Are
Like,
you good?
why? How are you a woman? Like, oh my god, what? Oh my god.
Are you-
Bad. I got a phone call, so I can't hear what's going on.
How are you a woman? A woman? You're not
Girl, are you good?
I missed that. I missed that whole thing. I got a phone call.
It just got really
How? I want to know. How are you a woman?
You know what, Salem? You know what I want to know? I want to know if your transgender bathroom exists that you have yet to
It
prove.
does.
That's what I
does,
want to know.
Because I support all transgenders. I support them. But
So the English
Well, you're
lesson did not stick.
Okay.
but you're not a
So-
woman.
So, hi.
Trans
hi.
woman. You're not a
Hi.
woman.
Hi. It's transgender people, not transgenders. First of all.
Okay. Sorry.
And second of all, you're not supporting transgender people if you're claiming that a transgender woman is not a woman.
Yes, I do. I do.
No,
I have
you
plenty.
don't.
I have plenty of friends that are transgender.
Great. So
Not
just
the
because you feel the need to
tokenization.
tokenize somebody doesn't mean that you
And
support
they're not.
transgender
And they're not
people.
like this. They're not like. They're more like. They're more respectful.
Okay, who
So-
in here was not being respectful? Other than you.
I'm not being disrespectful. I just said my opinion.
The Salem, you like literally sat here and freaked out, like, and banged your table because you got so upset over
I get
just
upset.
us
It's
sitting here and
funny.
proving
It's just
linguistically
funny.
we're women.
It's just funny how you think that like they're woman. Woman is different than a.
Are you actually okay,
So
my
different.
guy?
Do you not see mommy down in the bottom corner right now?
What you think, bro? How was a man? How?
I'm sorry. Hold on. So
I'm not
Salem.
from America. I'm not
So-
from America. I
so
learned all my
great.
English from Egypt.
So
I'm
hi. Do you see Coda down at the bottom here? So is Coda a man or a woman if you had to guess?
I can't. Come closer.
Here you go.
No, I don't want to see. Bro, listen to me.
I like that piercing, Coda.
What would be your guess? Man or woman?
That's mommy. That's what Coda is.
This,
Don't ever call me that. I'm a cool mom. Okay.
So sorry. So sorry, mom.
no.
Are you okay? Are you broken? What the fuck is going on?
Cardamom and mommy.
It's a trans woman.
How do you know that Coda is a trans woman?
Yeah. So you acknowledge that I'm a trans woman, right? Now tell me what you just said. Let's break that down real quick. Trans.
Bro, like, I'm not like you guys. Like, I'm gonna use any word I want. Like,
Okay, so I'm a trans.
Fuck, I'll be right back.
Let's get to the last half of that statement.
okay.
Not Nate just leaving.
A trans what? A trans woman.
Huh? What? I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry.
Jane, like I don't know how to work with this. Like Jane, you're really good at breaking this stuff down. Like, do you know how to help him out?
Okay. Okay. So when we like to describe people, like there's certain attributes that we would typically use to describe them, like words like tall, funny, you know, and one of those attributes is trans, right? It is a adjective because it is describing the type of person that we're interacting with.
You know what?
Right,
I,
so
the
we
person
sit here-
that created the word.
Hold on. So when we say trans woman, what we're actually saying is a woman who has a trans experience, right? A woman who happens to be trans. And so when you sit here and linguistically say that trans women are trans women, you're saying a woman who has an experience of being trans is a woman who has an experience of being trans. So you're not actually saying anything other than a trans woman is a woman.
Oh, so I'm just saying the same thing. Okay?
Yeah,
What is-
so you're saying that trans women are women by default.
I mean, they transitioned into a woman, right? But at one point,
There's
they
no
were-
transitioning going on.
Like,
Okay,
what
so
is the word trans describing in the like? There's look at the screen. Trans woman or woman. What is trans describing?
Transgender.
I really don't think that he's smart enough.
No. There's literally three words up there. One word is repeated twice. What is trans describing of those words up there?
I don't get you.
Oh my god.
Okay.
No, what I'm saying is at one point that person that believes that they're a woman was a man.
You do not have to make a transition in order to be trans.
I know, but you just have to believe that you're a woman.
Trans isn't
Okay, but
short
you're-
for anything. That like trans is not short for anything.
It's just transgender woman. That's it. A transgender woman is a woman. That is the claim we're making.
Okay. I mean,
Okay?
all right.
So are trans women women?
Oh my fucking god.
Okay, give me a definition of a woman.
Oh my god.
There's 7. Which one would you like?
Which one?
Why is there 7? Like, how would I know there was 7? I thought there
Okay,
was only
Salem.
one.
Okay, let's.
Why-
Okay.
what else is so complicated?
Salem. Okay, I love your logic. Can you give me the definition of the word can?
Can?
Mm-hmm.
Can. Like, which
How did
can?
nobody send me a cash app
There's-
yet? This is
There's
mind.
too many definitions of can, too.
Yes, because it depends on context.
Okay.
That's why there's many definitions for woman.
All right. Trans. You know what? I'm just going to agree with you guys. Trans women are women.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Best speed run. Trans debate speed run.
Amazing.
All right,
No, I think
well-
you should go get some sleep.
Yeah, go get some sleep, buddy.
Oh my god. He was so bright. I had to put on my shades.
I was wondering what you were doing. I was like, you wear your sunglasses at night.
Yes. Oh my god, Superstar Shen. You're a doll. You're a doll.
I'm totally being a Kyle right now and drinking a Monster.
That was great teamwork. Like high five, everybody.
I don't. Listen,
He's
I'm
gonna be
honest.
in Demi's live tomorrow. I know it.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not think that we were gonna end that discussion in that where we did, but whatever.
No, he's totally gonna be in Demi's live tomorrow. He's not
Sorry,
gonna...
that he's on camera. I put your live at risk.
Yeah, trans women are not
Oh
women.
no, you're
buddy.
fine. If you're gonna
Oh,
put my
hi,
live
how
at
are
risk, that
you?
would be the best way to do it. Hi, how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 19.
What year were you born?
We need to move on from this guy.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should definitely move on.
Did he say
Yeah, I'm
something?
just
I don't
saying,
even
trans
know what he
women are
just
not
said.
women, brother.
That sounds like a
Yeah, we
very
should definitely move on.
forced
I got it.
19-year-old.
I got it.
Thank you.
Dog whistle in this username, Nate.
Got it.
Yeah, 88. So,
I got it.
I don't know why my TikTok is acting up tonight. It's like freezing.
Aliens. It's aliens.
Peachy was in the request.
Peachy wasn't in the request.
Requested, but my request was canceled, so I don't know if they want me up.
Wait, I didn't cancel your request. What? Hello?
Look, my phone. Boy, do you wanna
Hello,
pick it up?
Satan.
My name's Lucifer, not Satan.
Okay,
My
Satan.
birth name as well. So it's a bit
Okay,
disrespectful.
how old are you?
My name.
Making a joke.
I'm 28 years old. We've actually met, Nate.
Yeah, this is Red Dead.
What? I don't
Would you like me to do the Irish accent for you? I know it seems to relax you guys just a little bit more. Seems
What?
like you tolerate me just a little bit.
I don't even know what you're saying.
But anyway, right. No, trans women, not women. And literally, it's written right there in front of you. If you notice, there's a word called trans in front of the word women.
Yeah, what's the word
That's
trans
so-
being used as?
So trans means that you're you're transforming from one gender
No.
to another.
No.
So you
No.
are
I'm a
in
No, it
fact
doesn't.
transformer.
No, it
male
doesn't.
or female, and then you become your
Satan, no.
psychological state, but you can never biologically
no.
become.
Okay,
How
so
am I
what are,
learning?
okay, so what
So
are
tell
the
me which science exists that
hi,
can morph
hi,
you
hi.
into that gender,
Hi.
completely
Hello.
break your DNA apart,
Hi.
remap you, rebuild your
Good-
body,
great-
every gland,
greetings.
every hormone.
Hello. Hi. What are the biological
Hello, Nick.
requirements? Hi. What are the biological requirements to be a woman?
Well, first off, you have to have the correct chromosomes. You have
Okay, and where does it say that in biology?
where does it say it in biology? In anatomy.
Where?
Would you like me to go get my anatomy book
Yep.
and show you the female body in all different parts of it?
Oh, now
Okay.
we're talking about
Fair
females.
enough. Let me go. My library. Yeah, it's got male in there as well. It's a big book of
Oh,
biology
so now we're
and
talking
anatomy,
about
so-
sex and not gender.
See, but they're correlated. You can't separate them.
Okay.
Okay, show me in the book where
can-
it says that, please.
Try and separate
Wait,
them.
wait, wait. Can
Try
you
and
do
Okay,
that?
separate them
Lucifer.
to the point where they
Lucifer.
completely divided. They're two different things.
Lucifer, show me in your anatomy book where it says that gender and sex are the same.
Well, the thing is gender and sex, right? So you have to think of them in scientific terms. And then, of course, we've got psychological gender, which is what psychologists have started to associate with people that have psychological dysfunctions from, of course, what they believe that they are.
You're just
Example,
wrong
like,
already. So
I
keep
could
going.
believe that I am Jesus Christ. I could generally believe that
Making
in my
that
whole
claim.
heart. But I would be clinically insane.
Nobody's
But
making
just
that
you
claim.
believe that you're something doesn't make you it, and you can take all the hormones in the
Nobody's
world.
making
It
the
does
claim.
irreparable
Hold
damage
on.
to your
Nobody's
body.
making the claim. Wait, nobody's making the claim that they're Jesus Christ, that they're a dog.
Actually, yeah, people do. There
So-
are
Yeah,
people in mental health
nobody's
institutes
making that
that
claim.
claim that they're
Hold on,
saviors or Satan. Or
Lucifer,
It's
are
very
you
common.
a man? Are you a man? Are you a woman? Or are you non-binary?
I'm a man.
Okay, and how do I know that you are being genuine in that? How do I know that you're not just insane and that you think you're a man even though you're a woman?
Because I'm biologically male,
That doesn't mean that you're a man.
and I. Yes, it does.
What if
how
this
does it
was the
not?
Matrix?
So we already talked. You already brought up
Well,
the topic on your
simulation
own
theory is a
that
completely
gender
different
is
scientific
psychological. Hi,
topic.
I'm speaking. Hello, greetings. I'm speaking. So you already brought up the topic on your own that gender is not biological and that it's actually psychological. So we've already made that distinction. So again, how do I know that you are a man and that you're not just a woman who thinks you're a man and you're insane? Because according to you, it is psychological and not biological. So there would be no biological
I mean, it's a
correlation between
biological
the two.
effect of psychology, but that's why we separate psychology and like neurology, because each person reacts differently to their chemistry for their experiences. That's why some people develop certain types of mental illnesses and certain people don't.
So
and they
you would
experience the
agree
exact
then?
same
So you would
kinds of
agree
environmental
then?
pressures.
Great. So you would agree then that your chromosomes or your primary sex characteristics or your secondary sex characteristics do not make up your gender.
Yeah, they can completely make up your gender.
They can or they do.
Yeah, they do. They do.
In all cases, they do.
This is the point. I see a lot of people.
Hold on.
struggle
I'm
with.
not done. I'm still trying to have a conversation. Let's not move the goalpost here. So in all cases, gender is related to sex. So whatever sex you are, whatever sex characteristics you are, that determines your gender. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and then of course you've got the psychological standing of the people
Perfect.
that are normal.
Great. So with your logic then, what gender are intersex people?
Well, intersex people, it's a little more complicated because they carry a very rare mutation which allows them to have
Mutation?
glands of both kinds of sex. Yeah, it's a mutation.
It's not a
The mutation
mutation.
is
It's
weird.
actually a variant in those
It's the
characteristics.
same with ginger
And
hair
it's
people.
it's at
It's
a
mutation.
minimum. It's at a
It is a
minimum of
mutation.
1 point.
I
It's at,
studied
I'm
DNA.
sorry.
It is a
I'm
mutation.
sorry. Can you? Is your Is your speaker turned all the
No,
way
no,
down?
no.
Can you
I've got
not
a
hear
very
me
powerful
speaking?
voice.
just what he
It's
does.
different.
Okay. All right. Great. So it's not that rare. It's a minimum of 1.7% of the population.
That's rare.
Nonetheless.
Billions of people
Okay.
in
So
Spain
what?
is very
Okay.
rare.
What's 1.7% of 8 billion?
Few hundred million.
I would just like to
don't
point out
know
I
the
have a
exact number.
rare.
I'm not a calculator, I have
exist.
no
I would just like to
exact
point out. Hey,
population
hey,
numbers
Lucifer,
in.
it's
But then,
Jesus.
of course,
Real
then
quick.
you have
Sorry.
to
Hey,
consider
Lucifer, it's
that
Jesus.
is a
Jesus
generalized
is talking. You might want to stop.
1.7%. When
So
you
I
take the
actually,
average
I
of
carry
humanity,
a
it's
more
probably
rare
less
high.
than 1%.
Yeah, you know what's really cool, Lucifer, is I will just keep talking because I'm Jesus. Anyway, so I actually carry a more rare genetic variant than intersex, and yet you already know someone who has the same genetic variant that I do, who's an actress. So like we can sit here and play the rare game all day long, but trans people are also rare.
Yeah. Great.
So
rare.
if you
But
can't
at the same time,
define
it is a
what
psychological
hold on, if
effect.
gender is directly
It's
correlated with
psychology. That's why we
sex,
have
if
psychology.
gender
It's
is
why
directly
psychology
correlated with
exists.
hi. If gender is directly correlated with sex, then you should easily be able to tell
For most
what
people,
gender
yeah.
an intersex person is.
For most people, yes, but some people dissociate with the gender that they are, dissociate with the
So
identity
here's the
they are.
problem
That's why
with that.
before they look at
Here's the
gender
problem with that.
identity
Lucifer,
first,
here's
they
the
look at
problem with that.
Jesus is very disappointed.
Here's the problem with that, right? You came in and you said that gender and sex do have a correlation. Because I asked you for specificity
In science,
when you
yeah.
said they can or do, and you said they do, which means that in all cases, gender is strictly related to sex. So whatever your sex determines your gender in all cases. That's what the claim you made. So if you're going to make that claim,
they're correlated.
then you
yes.
need to tell me what So somebody with XXY chromosomes, or somebody that may have ambiguous genitalia, what gender would they be?
Well, this is where we start to get into the psychological problems of how people begin to identify themselves.
Yeah, but so what you claimed is that it's not psychological.
Right now so what? No, so
oh my god. What you claimed is that it's not psychological and that it's related strictly to your biological sex. So then you can't use that argument if you're going to claim that it is your biological sex.
I did say that psychology, yes, is in fact a reaction of biology, but everybody's psychology is different, which is why it cannot be empirically measured through science, and that's the reason why psychology is studied so separately.
Okay, so then you need to clarify, because the argument that you made earlier would not be in alignment with that. So are you saying that sex and gender are not always in alignment, or that they are?
Rare cases, some people do not associate with the gender that they are born with. Yes. Or the sex, if you want to say that they're born with. So they start to have identity.
So we can identify then that sex and gender are not always in alignment.
Well, it depends.
Well, that's literally what you just said.
We're getting to. But your gender, so let's say you're born male, right? Male characteristics, race as male, but then you start getting curiosities. What if I think I'm a girl? If I want to put on a fox?
I rebuke you, Satan.
Not the rebuke.
I'm going to be honest. I thought Satan would be smarter.
Divine on my left, Trump on my right. Those are my shoulder angels.
That's going to be complex. Oh no.
Bye, Satan.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm so glad Satan is out of my life.
We got a runner, we got a track star.
I'll send chat.
That was exhausting, and I wasn't even taking part in it.
Yeah, so again, I only am looking for opposition, guys. So if you are not opposition, please hop out of the box. If you are, go ahead and request. Everyone else, please keep double tapping that screen so we can bring some more people in here. I'd appreciate it.
Hey, Lyric. Look, I just want to be the rarest person on this live, okay? Like, I know being trans is super rare, but I want to be rarer than that. I want to be special. I want to be the unicorn.
Well, I don't know. What's the percentage of your rarity? What's the percentage of your rarity?
0.4% in the United States.
All right, so I'm more rare because there's a smaller percentage of non-binary people.
Then 0.4%?
Mm-hmm.
What is it like 0.2?
It's around point like 1.6 or 0.18. Because so trans people are 0.5, and then of that 0.5, it's about it's pretty evenly split into thirds between trans men, trans women, and non-binary.
I'm gonna have to get some chromosome testing. I gotta find something.
I feel like I want to say I'm more rare because I'm a trans Mexican bimbo, but I do believe there are quite a few of those. Pretty sure there's multiples.
Okay, Coda.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Mars.
Hi. How old are you?
21.
All right. What's up? What's your take?
I disagree that trans women are women.
Why?
Because a woman's an adult human female.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So why would that not include trans women?
Because they're not a biological female.
Okay. So is woman sex or gender?
Well, what I would say is woman is sex because it's a specific time in a female's life.
What?
Yeah, so a woman is an adult human female, so they're an adult female. So I would say it's sex.
Okay. So would
what?
women? hold on. So would women be a reference to a person's age and their sex?
Correct. A woman is a specific time in a female's life, basically.
Okay. So would have to mean it would be a biological definition, correct?
Correct.
So in biology, how we go about determining if a animal, right, a biological entity has reached adulthood is by when they have reached sexual maturity, right? You
Right.
agree with that?
I do agree with that.
Okay. So would you say that a 14-year-old is a woman?
Well, by our standards in Western culture, no.
So, but you would have to concede, if it's a biological definition, right, that a 14-year-old female is a woman by definition.
Well, I would say that the female part's a biological definition. The time
All right,
is
so
not
so
biology.
here's what I think is really fucking funny, Mark. Actually, is you came in here with the definition of a woman, but do you happen to have the definition of a female because you used that in your definition?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, what's the definition of a female?
Now this is right off the top of my head, so it's not going to be word for word, but it's of or denoting to the sex that can bear offspring or produce eggs.
Yeah, that's pretty close. So what does that mean?
What it says, the specific sex that can produce offspring or lay eggs.
Can you?
So
like,
you-
I'm
you-
sorry,
you
I'm
got
like,
about
wait,
50
wait. I'm sorry.
You got
Lay
about-
eggs.
He did say lay eggs, didn't he?
Lay.
I meant produce. I meant produce.
sorry.
Anyway, no,
I
but
meant
so
produce.
can you? So you got about 50% of that definition.
Right.
Can we try and get the other 50%?
Nate, I'm sorry. I have to go lay some eggs real quick. I'll be right back.
All right.
Real quick, I do want to point out. I do want to point out one thing before we go further into this. When we say adult and we determine that someone has reached the age of majority, right? That in and of itself is socially constructed. So how we go about determining what is an adult and what is an adult is in essence a social construction. So that would mean that the definition in of itself means that gender is socially constructed. So go ahead.
Yeah. So what would be the other half of that definition, Mark?
Of a female?
Yep.
Do you mind if I pull it up so at least I can be looking at something?
I mean, you stated the whole thing, but when you broke it down for me, you only really described half of it.
Are you talking about the denoting part?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The denoting is representing, which I would say
Right,
that
so-
trans people don't represent.
Okay. So then what? So then who would represent a female?
I would say, now this is my interpretation, is it goes into like insects and different animals that more of kind of mimic the female role as far as that goes, because we can't just
Well, we
say,
wouldn't be talking about different animals, right? Because we're talking about the definition of a woman here, which would only apply to humans.
Yeah, but we're
Because
talking-
humans
I
are
like-
the only.
we are talking about the
only
definition of
species.
female.
So, right, but when we're talking about the definition of female, we're relating that to how it applies to a woman. And when we're
Exactly.
talking about a woman, that would only apply to humans. So let's stick to humans here, please.
Right. But what I'm saying is the definition of a female is not human specific. It's in regards to all females, animals, insects, humans. When we talk about
Okay.
woman, it's specific as far as humans. So if we're gonna,
Okay.
so if that makes sense.
Okay,
I do
so
like the
again, can you
direction
please
it's
explain to me? Sorry.
I do like the direction that was going though. You said something pretty important. Looking like or imitating the female role. So is a role now involved in denoting to female?
What I'm talking about is in the denoting and representing, which is actually added way later too, because a lot of females can't females can't give birth if they have disorders. So it also includes them because they could have the ability to if they were healthy. Also, insects that can produce young. Some of them can actually, like some fish, can actually switch whether or not they can produce to give birth or cannot. So there isn't
Right,
a
so why is
specific
it such a
definitive.
stretch to think that a human could deal with similar things without the anatomical capacity to change that at will?
Well, what I'm if
We're
a
still denoting to that female role.
so what you're saying is a trans woman represents someone who can give birth.
I'm sorry, what?
Which typically this is the issue.
So, because if it says of or denoting, so if the argument
Mhm.
is that a trans person represents somebody who can give birth, if that's the definition we're going with, I'm more than happy to accept that. But that isn't trans women's arguments, is that they represent somebody who can give birth. I don't think I've ever heard a trans woman said that they ever represent
No.
anybody who can give
So
birth.
again, we would be representing. They would be representing the sex that can typically produce eggs or bear offspring. That does not mean that they have the ability to produce eggs or bear offspring.
They'd be
or that they
represent.
are representing somebody that can. They are representing the sex that we associate with a person who could have that ability.
So how do you represent that? So how does a trans woman represent somebody who can give birth?
Here
Yeah,
comes
so-
epistemology.
Yeah, so a trans woman would be related to what we would typically in society what we assume to be a female, right? So they would be more closely related to a someone who is born female or a cisgender woman, more so than they would be a male or a cisgender man.
I mean, we could play around with this because we could be like, so like, where is the line in the sand when we look at our 5 biological components that pushes you over the edge of being female or pushes you over the edge of being male? If we go with the gametes argument, which, yeah, that's actually like a pretty solid one until you run into true gonadal intersex, where you do have a small portion that do produce both gametes, not necessarily in a fertile like state, but they do have both. So that does like bring an interesting discussion to the table. But then it's like, but then you have individuals like Swyer syndrome that have XY chromosomes, but have female reproductive organs and can give birth. But like where do we draw the line in like what defines a female or a male, and what is that one necessary condition that every single female or male meets?
Do you actually mind if I correct you on one point? I don't mean to interrupt. Just so we're actually correct.
Is it on true gonadal intersex? Because I can pull up sources.
Talking about Swyer syndrome specifically, they do have Y chromosomes, and they can't give birth. They can't.
That is false. I have sources on that they can. We have documented cases of people with Swyer syndrome giving birth. They did so through in vitro fertilization.
Right. But there's no such thing as somebody who is with Swyer syndrome who was able to give birth naturally. They had to have medical intervention
Is
to help.
IVF not natural?
What?
So so anyone that's been born through IVF is just not okay.
No. But giving birth through that. So with medical so basically anything can happen if we put medical I would argue that the machine and the machinery helping to give birth would be more of a.
Wait, what? Could you bear a child
Could
with
I bear a
medical
child?
intervention?
Yeah, you could. If you got a uterus transplant.
Yeah, so we actually don't have the ability to do that yet. So no,
We're working on it.
You would not have the ability to bear a child as a cisgender man.
Also, I'd just like to point out that actually quite a few people would not be able to give birth without any form of medical intervention. So this is a really silly argument to go down.
I've had medical intervention.
Like a C-section is medical intervention.
No, but I'm saying but they still can get pregnant naturally and all that. So there needs to be medical intervention to help them get pregnant is what I meant.
Not always. Like a turkey baster is freaking medical intervention. Like if your line in the sand is medical intervention, then there are billions of people that would not be here.
Right, but I'm not denying the pregnancy part.
But
if
there
you
are cis women that are born female that can't give birth unless through medical intervention.
Right.
So are they not female then?
Yeah, but my definition of female is not somebody who can give birth. My actual definition that I think is more accurate is someone with lack of the Y chromosome makes you female, Y chromosome makes you male. That's
Okay,
my-
so here's the problem with that, right? Like,
Wait,
we
he's
can't-
almost there. He's almost there. Hold on. Why is the Y chromosome relevant?
The Y chromosome in what?
Why is that relevant?
Why is that relevant? Because that's what is responsible for male characteristics.
False.
What do you mean by false?
The SRY gene. The SRY gene is, and the SRY gene can jump onto the X chromosome.
Right. The SRY gene and Y chromosome though are 99%.
Yeah, sure. Most of the time, yes, you are on point. But we do know that it can jump, and this is where the necessary condition comes into play. Is that there is nothing Even gametes, it becomes in a gray area when you talk about truegital intersex, where you can say definitively that every female and every male on the planet has this. And then it gets even more complex when you get into woman and man.
Yeah, but no. So the SRY gene. So fine, if we wanted to say go with the SRY gene and more specifically, then I would say that a female's lack of the SRY gene, just genuinely like that, and
Except it can jump onto the X chromosome, like we have with like we have with De La Chapelle syndrome.
Or there's also
that would be the male.
wait. There's also androgen insensitivity syndrome, where they will have a SRY gene, but they do present phenotypically female.
Okay. Okay.
They touch on this in endocrinology, Mark, on the fact that you have to go beyond the SRY gene, because even more complex is that there are other genes within your DNA that help with the development of testes or ova, which is what's so fascinating. Is, for instance, we actually have cases of people with Klinefelters that developed female phenotypically, and what the consensus on that is that other genetic makeup was involved in the phenotypical display. This is not you can't just talk about the SRY gene. There's more at play here. There could be dozens upon dozens of genetics that we are just now discovering that have involvement with how we display, at least phenotypically.
Okay. So just so we're clear, what is your definition of a woman?
My definition of a woman?
Yeah.
I can pull up the Cambridge one. That's the one I usually go with. I just don't have it off the top of my head.
Okay, so can anyone in this group give me their definition of what a woman is?
Just give me like 2 seconds. I can literally pull it up.
I would say adult human female.
Hold on. I do like the Cambridge one a bit better. Just give me 2 seconds. I just don't have it memorized.
It's not the best, but it's still accurate. When we look at, again, we understand that woman is in reference to gender. We know that female is of or denoting to the sex that typically bears offspring.
Oh.
We also know that gender excludes biology and only involves psychological and social aspects. So like these are the things that we can like identify, that like when we're saying adult human female, it is not talking about biology.
I mean, I would just say, so Cambridge, I will say just for me, because you did ask, an adult who lives and identifies as female, though they may have been said to have a different sex at birth.
Okay, so we are rooting this in biology. So what characteristics?
No.
Right?
This is talking about the characteristics that are associated with female.
But a female is a biological term. We can agree on that, right?
But would you not say that there are societal implications assigned with female?
Yeah, so are we talking about the biological aspects of a female or societal?
I would say this is talking about societal.
We're talking about societal because, again, when we talk about man and woman, these are genders. And when we look up what a gender is, it strictly excludes biology.
It does not actually.
It does, actually. If you look up the definition of gender, it strictly says not biological.
Actually, no, I have it up right here.
Wait.
Sex, especially and considered with reference to social and cultural differences rather than biological ones. But it does have male sex and female sex as literally the first sentence.
They can be correlated.
It says rather. Yep. Wait, please. It says rather than biological ones.
Yep.
What does that mean?
It says especially when considered with reference to social and cultural differences. But yeah, so
rather than biological.
Other than
ones.
biological
so again,
ones. What does
when
rather
we talk
than
about
biological ones mean?
It says
again, when we talk about when we talk about gender, again, we are referencing social and cultural male and female, not biological male and female.
Okay, so cultural male sex and female sex. So I'm just trying to figure out: is there a difference between male and female sex? Is that not biology or is that gender?
Yeah. So yes. So sex technically would be biological, but there's also a cultural aspect of that. And what we typically see or what we typically expect a female to be in society, that is not always in alignment with what you were actually assigned at birth. So like what society would view as a female doesn't include all people that were assigned female at birth. It could include somebody that was assigned male at birth, but still socially and culturally would be a female.
Okay, so what makes someone a female culturally?
It depends on the society and the culture. I mean, there isn't one
What time
attribute.
period are you talking about? During the gay rights liberation, lesbians were not seen as females. There were literal marches and riots and all kinds of media disportrayments. I don't know if that's a word, but it is now. Of lesbians not being women. Lesbians were not women back then. They were not considered women. So which culture, which time period, how much information do you want and how far down the rabbit hole do you need to go just to prove that you do not know what a woman is?
No, I'm talking about right now. What does a female
And
mean?
yet you are up here trying your damnedest to put women in boxes.
I'm not trying to put women in boxes. I think that
So-
I think it's just simple terms.
So then let me ask you a question. What would be, in your eyes, what would be the necessary condition to define a woman?
The necessary conditions to define a woman. I would say the lack of the SRY gene, i.e., Y chromosome too, as well. So that would make you a woman, and you'd be an adult.
So
We just
there are
wanna-
De La Chappelle males who do not have a SRY gene. They are phenotypically male, but they lack the SRY gene within their chromosomes.
Yep.
Then they'd be female.
So are they now women?
They have a Y chromosome.
No,
They don't
lack
have
of
the SRY gene.
Lack of the SRY gene and Y chromosome.
They have the Y
So-
chromosome. They don't have the
Yeah.
SRY gene.
So again, somebody born male is now a woman, according to you.
Do they have the Y chromosome?
Yes,
Then they're not. Then they're male.
but
No,
they
you
don't
just
have the
said
SRY
lacking the
gene.
SRY
They're
gene.
still male.
Wait, so but okay,
The Y
I'm
chromosome
confused.
is responsible for them
It is
being
not. The
female.
SRY gene is, and other genes are.
The SRY gene is found on the Y chromosome, but they are still the Y chromosome is still responsible.
Not
for
always. It can
can
jump
also
onto
be.
the X. I covered this already.
That's not. That's. I know it can, and we have cases like Sawyer syndrome where they
Right.
they
So
have
here's the
female-
problem. Do you know what a necessary condition is?
What?
Do you know what a necessary condition is?
Yeah.
What is a necessary condition?
Are we saying just the necessary conditions as far as like what is required to be of the female sex?
Can you describe to me what a necessary condition is?
I don't quite know what you mean by necessary condition.
It means
so-
everybody has to have it.
Yeah, it would be something that
So-
everyone would have to be considered that thing. So
Right.
for somebody to be a woman, that means everybody would have to have that. So if you're saying that every woman would need to lack an SRY gene, that would not be accurate because we know that there are people that are female even, not even women, but are female, or sorry, there are people that are assigned male. Hold on, now I'm fucking backwards.
Okay, hold on, Nate.
Artemis has
Well, I have
got
an
me on this one.
example. So, Mark, if, for example, like a necessary condition to be like human would be to have human DNA, right? So every human being has human DNA, every single one. So it's like that. You'd have to define a condition that would be required for like every single woman would have it in order for it to
There
be
can be
necessary.
no exceptions to it. If we find an exception, it's not necessary.
What about intersex? I'm not arguing that intersex don't exist, and I think intersex should be its own category.
Okay, I just want to test your logic for a minute. People born with non-mosaic 46 XXY, what are they? Sorry, 47 XXY. What are they?
They have the Y chromosomes. They're that's what I'm saying. Y chromosomes, you're male, and then lack thereof is female. That's my definition of sticking to it. But intersex is something I don't want to argue.
Made multiple claims about reproduction. You've made multiple claims about Y chromosomes and SRY genes. So their Y chromosome doesn't have an SRY gene. They do have two X chromosomes.
Right.
Are they kind of female but not really male?
They're gonna have more of the female characteristics, but they're still gonna be considered male.
Do you even know what non-mosaic 47 XXY is?
I'm just listening on the.
It is an infertile male.
Okay.
So they can't reproduce. Are they still men?
Yeah, they're still men.
I think it's roughly about 8% of people that do have Klinefelters are actually female.
Okay, so let me ask: do you think that we should try forcing intersex into a male and female category, or do you think intersex should be its own separate thing?
The discussion here goes beyond intersex is that we went from how to define a woman, an adult human female. But then when we try to define female, we come into all these exceptions. And you even talked about how other denoting was added because the definition of female didn't encompass infertile people.
Right.
So we recognize that definitions are descriptive, not prescriptive.
Well, I think that in context, though, it helps if you can be whatever you want. So, what is your requirement to be considered a woman? What is your requirement? Because my question wasn't answered. What is a woman?
Me and Pete both answered that question, but if you want to know, like on a personal level, someone that has a consistent, persistent, and insistent, innate sense of self, which is their truth, that they are a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to believe that they have to be persistent, consistent, and
it's not about a belief. It's
insistent. It's that you know who you are.
Yeah, it's how you relate your gender experience to what society would typically refer to as a woman or a man.
So that's a requirement to be considered a female?
Woman.
But there's trans girls and boys too. So we're just talking about females in general, right?
It would be the same for boys and girls. We are just talking about men and women because we don't really like talking about children.
Okay,
It would be the same.
So a female, right? Female and male. So you guys never denied that it's separate than biology, though. You guys said it's female and male, which we both agreed that were biological terms, right?
Yes, but when we're talking about man and woman, that is gender, and that is not male and female. It should be biological.
Mark, here's the thing. Like, I literally have this in my link tree, and I implore you to read up on it. I literally have this from Molecular Endocrinology, SRY, and the Standoff and Sex Determination. There are at least four genes we have identified. It's going to be the SOX9 and FGF9, which pushes gonads towards testes differentiation, and then the WNT4 and the RSPO1, which pushes towards ovary differentiation. This shows that we only know this much about what chromosomes are involved in sex determination. We've known about the SRY gene because that was the easiest to identify. In fact, we actually only even finished mapping the Y chromosome. I believe it was either last year or this year. And we only finished mapping X chromosomes, I believe, within the last 5 years. So to sit here and act like we even understand the complexities of what makes up a female or male is asinine. We don't know the full picture. We know there's so much more at play. So to sit here and try to say that a woman is an adult human female when we don't even freaking know what a female is completely is ridiculous.
Well, I think I would actually argue to disagree. I think we know that a female can give birth, and then we know if they can't give birth, something went wrong. I think we can all agree on that.
So
not necessarily that something goes.
So if somebody can't give birth, they're not a female.
But this is also not. Hold on a second. So, like, say something went wrong. Infertility is not uncommon in populations, and I would actually say it's a form of evolution for population control. Like, we can look at this and see when it shows up. So, like, saying something went wrong, like, I would say it is a part of a natural process that occurs, and it's unfortunate. But I wouldn't say that someone is wrong or that that they're less than because they can't give birth. Same thing if a male cannot, like, their sperm is not like they're sterile. Like, I wouldn't say that for a male.
So if a woman goes to a doctor and asks them, tells them I can't get pregnant, they'd run tests, right? They try figuring out why you can't get pregnant, right? Because they know that you should, but something went wrong.
We can actually fix a lot of infertility. If you actually look up the statistics, so 20% of women experience infertility. And then once they get assistance, which you brought up medical intervention about Swyer syndrome, is that what's really fascinating is that we can actually lower that infertility percentage, I believe, within like 1 to 3%, because it's usually very common things, slow swimmers, which, by the way, get your estradiol up, men. That helps with sperm creation and helps with higher rates of like being able to impregnate. I hate that word. It could also be issues of just timing. that ovulation is off and there needs to be a more accurate way of timing that. It can do with simply the homeostasis of the uterus. There are so many tiny factors that, like, I was born through artificial insemination because my father had a vasectomy beforehand, so they needed to extract his sperm and inseminate my mother. That's fine. People used to do this with a turkey baster and still can. And then IVF has become a huge success. We have things to fix infertility issues to where we've lowered it to where there's a very small percentage of people in the world that can't, under any circumstances, give birth. But it's very costly to treat infertility.
Right.
Yeah, there are a lot of genetic variations that have an effect on fertility, but that doesn't mean that something went wrong or there was a defect. It's simply a genetic variation.
Everybody's different.
I think it was unfair for me to say earlier too, and I apologize for saying medical intervention or if it demeaned anybody by that. I just want to apologize for that. Probably not fair for me to say that because there are many case scenarios where I feel like it's not fair of me to say something like that. However, I would argue though that if the biological male goes into a hospital and says why I can't get pregnant, they'll be
Wait.
We already know why.
Yeah, I can answer this though, because I think your situation here, I've heard this one a lot of times and it's not analogous. What would be analogous to a trans woman going to a doctor and saying, "Hey, I can't get pregnant, help me figure out why," and the doctor being like, "Well, like you were born assigned male at birth, like you have male reproductive organs, you don't have like a uterus." What would be analogous to that would be if a cis woman who already knew she didn't have a uterus for whatever reason, say she had a hysterectomy or she was just born without it, and she already knew she didn't have a uterus, just like the trans woman knows she doesn't have a uterus. If a cis woman went into a doctor knowing she doesn't have a uterus and said, "Why can't I get pregnant?" the doctor would be like, "Well, you don't have a uterus." Same thing with a trans woman. That's a more analogous situation. So it doesn't really make sense to be like, well, why, if a trans woman went in, she already knows she doesn't have a uterus. Whereas in the other situation, you'd have to make it analogous by saying the cis woman also knows she doesn't have a uterus. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in both cases, they would just be told they don't have uteruses. So.
Okay. Where is is there like a link for that?
For what?
Because
common sense.
Yeah, that's not really a source, right? Like I'm telling you what's analogous because the situation you presented isn't analogous.
Well, no. I mean, yeah, what you gave me is analogous, and they would tell them that they don't have a uterus. But I think that it's
analogous in the sense that the uterus was just an example, but it's analogous in the sense that that trans women know that they don't have the reproductive organs in order to carry a child. So what would be analogous would be to compare them to a cis woman who also knows she's missing a reproductive organ to carry a child.
Yeah, but
whereas the situation you presented is not analogous because you're saying, well, they don't know that they have. The cis woman doesn't know this and the trans woman does know this. Those are not analogous situations.
I would just like to bring this up though real quick because I find this thing a whole, like if a male walked into a hospital and said that they were pregnant, obviously we would know. Are you familiar with Couvaid syndrome? No one's gonna know what I'm talking about, and then they're all gonna freak out. Do you know what it is, Mark?
No idea.
Okay, this is a psychosomatic equivalent of rituals of initiation into paternity. But what happens in this has happened. There's actually some interesting ER or The Resident and all these shows that do like hospital shows have actually done episodes on this. A man born male will look pregnant. He will actually psychosomatically adopt pregnancy symptoms, cramps, inflation of the belly, everything. And they will have to physically look at him and go in and make sure that they aren't intersex. So a man born male can walk into a hospital and look pregnant and think they're pregnant.
Wait, is this a case scenario where they adopt the symptoms of like their pregnant spouse?
But yes, this
Yeah,
happens.
I know.
It could be
Yeah.
11 to 65% of it. It's actually pretty common.
It is common.
But like
yeah.
the severity of it, it might not be as common. But when people like to throw out this weird scenario, yes, a born male could actually think they're pregnant because their spouse is. And they have to go in and get physically examined and even get an ultrasound to make sure they don't have a uterus, even though they might just be displaying male genitalia, because there could be something else going on. So that's the thing, is like all these weird scenarios that transphobes like to make up and be like, oh, well, a biological male, if they say they're having a miscarriage, obviously they're not. There's literally a syndrome where they think they are.
Okay, so what? So here. So what's the definitive to make somebody? So I know. So we're talking about female, and I've heard this argument a lot. And my definition of a female is I'm more than happy to change it as far as what it is to be more correct as far as it goes. And if, let's say, in the future a male can get a uterus transplant or whatever, if we can say that somebody who is of or denoting the offspring that can give young, and that they have the potential to, I'm more than happy to say that. But I feel like this idea that a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man just because they're persistent and consistent, and it doesn't change the fact.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
We already have the technology to turn any stem cell into a reproductive large or small gamete. So that technology already exists. The technology of womb transplants for trans women may not be too far off. I will likely be too old by that time. But we've already done it in mice. So I think people tend to think about male and female as if they're polar opposites, when they are far more intertwined than we currently understand.
Oh.
He left.
I was gonna say, like, if he would be willing to accept that trans women are women, if they were able to carry a child, then that's implying that you have to be able to carry a child in order for you to be a woman, and there are plenty of cis women who would be excluded from that.
Right, but trans women have to earn their stripes and
Yeah.
go through.
My whole thing is that this whole thing is like gender and sex by themselves are complex discussions. And it's like, and I'm glad I remembered this syndrome, because I'm going to start using this as an example of how someone could actually think that they are going through this. But it's like, it's really interesting to look at. Oh, it says he said his app crashed. But like, this is why we can't say, it's so simple. Here's the little box. Like, this is so complex.
Guys, I'm gonna reset really quick. I'm gonna reset really quick. My app is being like super glitchy.
Okay.
So I'm gonna reset real quick. I'll be right back. Everyone who's in here, make sure you give me a follow so you can come back when I